Welcome to A&B Horror Movies. I'm Aaron, and I'm very excited to be joined today by Christian Sesma. Christian, welcome.
What's up, Aaron? How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm good, man.
Nice, nice. So I have you on today to talk about your brand new shark thriller, Into the Deep. But before
Yeah.
we get to that, yeah, I can't wait. Before we get to that, you are a director, a writer, a producer. You've worked on countless films. Just to name a few, 72 Hours, Lights Out, Section 8, The
Yep.
Night Crew, AWOL 72, Lost Time, and I'm Not Like That No More. Just to
Yeah,
name a few.
yeah,
Like I
those are
said.
some old school ones. They're fun.
Yeah, yeah, cool. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations on that. And so Into the Deep,
Yep.
fantastic cast here. We have Scout Taylor-Compton, who is I guess I would say a horror legend.
Yeah, yeah.
And you also have, go ahead.
No, I was like, yeah, Scout. I mean, Scout's a scream queen in her own, so she's great.
Yes. And Richard Dreyfuss, of course, from Jaws, John Cena, Callum McGowan, and Stuart Townsend. So
Yeah,
fantastic lineup.
really fun.
And yeah, yeah, lots of fun. So I watched your film. I'm a fan. It's a lot of fun there. I guess my first question is, how did Into the Deep come about? There are killer sharks, there are pirates, underwater treasure. I probably missed a few things, but there are a lot
Yeah.
of things packed into this film. So why don't we
Yeah,
start with that?
sure. So, Into the Deep came about with it was the same writer that I had just worked on with Lights Out and Section 8. And we had a producing friend that's making a lot of movies in Thailand, this, that, and the other. And the same distributor, Saban, that put out
Mhm.
a few movies from me before. They obviously they did a shark movie before. A shark movie was doing pretty good for them. And Chad, the writer, um, had a script that was good, and he sent it over. And I thought this was for me. I thought this was cool because it wasn't technically a creature feature. It's much more just a thriller, right? It was much more a thriller with some
Yeah,
action
sure.
in it. It was
Mhm.
like the sharks weren't technically the central part of this. It was just one more element of danger for the movie, right? So it
Yes.
was like so
Mhm.
that I was like, okay, I can rock with this. It kind of felt like in the wheelhouse on some level. And I'm like, all right, this will be fun. And so, I had just done another movie with Richard. And they're like, look, man, if you can get, Saban was like, you can get Dreyfuss to come back to the shark genre, we'll greenlight this movie and we can get this going. And so kind of, one thing led to
Oh,
another,
cool.
and it was
Mhm.
some hard pitches to Richard, and it was like, interestingly enough, it was a pass at first. He was like, no, no, I'm not really interested. And then I went back to him like, look, it's not what because he was like, I think after Piranha 3D, he didn't want to do anymore like this. Like he
Mhm.
didn't want to do that. And he was like, it's not what I'm interested in, this, that, and the other. And he had some things that he wanted. He had some things that he wanted to do. And the interesting thing with Richard and Jaws and stuff like that. So Richard has a great story about him and the original writer of Jaws, right? Of the book, right?
Mhm.
Or what it
Mhm.
was based off of. And
Yes.
they had a lot of guilt over the success of Jaws when it came to how it affected the ecosystem majorly.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
they really felt, I mean, it's extreme, but he was like, we were the Goebbels of the shark world. Like we annihilated millions of sharks,
Yes.
because of this movie.
Mhm.
And he was like, I don't want to be a part of that. And I was like, neither do I, Richard. This isn't what this movie is. Like, I go, the
Yes.
sharks aren't technically the bad guy. Like, they're just sharking. Like, the sharks are just
They're
sharking
just
in this
doing
thing.
what they're, yeah,
They're
exactly, what
just
they're
doing what they
supposed to
do.
do.
It's
And
not,
yes.
yeah, I go, they're not the villain. And they don't, like, spoiler alert to everybody, they don't die at the end. Like,
Hmm.
they don't
Hmm.
get killed. And he was like, okay. Then he started listening and this, that, and the other. And I kind of also pitched him kind of my ending, which was again, like we got, I don't know if we can cuss or not on this podcast, but it's like, you know,
Sure.
yeah, no, we just got a lot of shit. Like, there was a very divisive ending to this movie, and I knew it, and I took a big
Yes.
swing creatively with were we gonna go with
Hmm.
a creature feature ending or this kind of cathartic ending, which we did. And I was like, I'm going to go this way, right? And so,
Hmm.
and it's funny because it's been a very right down the line. Some people hate it, some people love it. So, just like anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
Yeah.
it worked. It wasn't predictable, let's say,
Right.
you're right. The sharks aren't the villains in your film.
Right.
The sort of the pirates are.
Yeah, 100%. And
And
that was always
and
the pitch. I was like, Richard, this is Captain Phillips with sharks, dude. As an indie, as an indie, it's
yes,
like,
absolutely.
and so, he agreed and he understood that there was this kind of cathartic moment at the end of the movie where it's like human and nature, and they have this kind of, and she has this emotional moment rather than, what you would have is like defeating the creature, right, or killing the creature, or
Yes.
this, um,
Well,
so that's how
go
we
ahead.
got him. That's how we got him to sign.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. That
That's a
was a
long story, long and short of it. Yeah,
fantastic answer there. Very exciting. So, yeah, I mean, you
yeah,
do have the sharks. They're killer sharks at times, but
yeah,
then there's also moments where they're presented in a very beautiful way.
yeah.
Um, and there's a lot of danger at play, like you said. So I think it all comes together and works really well. I mean, this is like a perfect Sunday afternoon movie, I think.
Okay, so I appreciate
Eh,
that.
yeah, yeah, no, it's great. So let's see. I do have a few more questions for you because we're just
Yeah,
getting started.
no, of
What
course,
was it like filming an ocean film, like filming on the water, filming the
man.
underwater scenes, and how much of it was actually in the ocean and versus like in a pool, for example?
Sure. So how was it? It was extremely challenging, really cool, and very. I mean, it was extremely challenging for a lot of reasons. So I think
Mhm.
80 or 90% of this movie is either on the water or in the water or underwater, right? So it's like
Yes.
it's on the water, man. Like
Or
this was
they're about to get in the water if they're not
yeah,
in the water.
right. So
Go
I
ahead.
was
Yeah.
like, it's like this movie is a water movie, man. Like, so that I
Yeah,
thought was
sure.
cool. I've never done anything like that before. And like I said, as an artist, as a director, I've never been the one to kind of just rest on my laurels or just kind of be like, oh, this is my sandbox and this is what I'm going to play in. Like I've always tried to mess with a lot of different genres. I consider myself a genre filmmaker. And if I
Mhm.
dig the story, if I can get, if I can kind of nerd out on it a little bit, like I'm going to go for it. And so
Yeah.
this one, I was like, okay, it's on boats the whole time, or either, like I said, it's either on the boat, in the water, off the boat, or under the water,
Mhm.
like scuba diving kind of stuff. So,
Yep.
um, super challenging. And it's fun. Interestingly enough, it's not for the reasons some people think, because like you're in water, right? Like I thought, we had underwater cameras, we had underwater DP, all that stuff, scuba diving sequences. I think that wasn't the most difficult thing. What people don't realize is boats, we're shooting on boats, right, all the time. So we had our main set, which is like our main boat that everything was based off of, and you had like, the pirates boat was next to him,
Mhm.
not like, Captain Jack Sparrow pirate, but
Yeah, of course.
modern day pirates
No,
had taken
they had a
over these
very
boats.
nice boat, actually.
Yeah, they had,
Go
these
ahead.
mercs, these mercs were able to get a hold of some sort of like little yacht, right?
Yeah, they were doing
So,
okay. Yes.
right, they're doing okay. So these boats are like
Mhm.
so, right? These boats are
Mhm.
like so. So that's our set. That's our set. So, when we're shooting, we have these boats, and then we have all these like safety boats. Like we had a camera boat with all the gear, lighting boat over here with all the gear, safety boats, this, that, and the other. So there's like a little floating set, a little floating production crew there, right?
Yeah,
As
sure.
well.
Okay, okay. All
So
connected together,
all
right? In
connected
some way.
together, right?
Yeah.
The problem with water is take one, we're shooting. All right, cut. Take two, we're shooting, we're shooting. Oh shit, the horizon's wrong, the light is wrong.
Moving.
Let's tug the boats out all the time. Okay, here we go.
Oh
And
gosh.
action. We're shooting, we're shooting, we're shooting. All right, next thing. Okay, damn, dude, we got like every like 3 or 4 shots, we had to move the whole circus for the light, and we had to move the whole circus for the horizon.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
yeah, every time. So it's like people don't realize that was the hard part. That was really difficult because we're supposed to
I
be
bet.
shooting out in the middle of kind of nowhere, right? I mean, we're technically
Mhm.
out. We shot in Krabi, Thailand, which is unbelievable. That's where we shot
Yeah.
this, and we shot about probably 500 yards, say 500 yards out of shore. Like we're kind of like in this giant like you know bay, right? Like we're in this
Mhm.
giant bay. We're kind of out at the bay, right? So we can kind of come to and forward to the shore. But we had to take boats out to set every day.
Back and forth.
Out to set, back. Somebody has to go to the bathroom. We got to take a. Oh, everybody got to take a trip back.
Go back.
So
Oh
things
my
like
God.
yeah, it was pretty crazy. But the point is, like the land was on one side of the boats all the time, and the
Hmm.
open water was on like out on one side, on the other side. So we always had to position these boats for open water of some kind. So those boats move,
Yes.
man. It's like
Oh, oh yeah, I bet.
the light, like the boats float, and you're just always moving. So that was the single most difficult part of shooting on boats. It moves, and when you're shooting,
I,
continuity and boats moving.
I think I'm going to have anxiety dreams about this now. Um,
We're like, damn, dude, tug the boat around.
well, let me ask you this: would you do it again? Because you said it was very challenging, but I imagine, well, how was
No,
it?
no.
It must have been rewarding in some ways too. And would you
For
do it
me, it
again?
was because it was like, for me, it's like, especially
Hmm.
on an independent level, right? Like, you go into these
Yeah.
indies and you don't have, tons of money, you don't have tons of resources and tons of time. So you go, hey man, look what we pulled off for what people would never realize what we did, and for all that. So I think if you could pull off a successful film that makes sense A to Z and is cool and it looks good, I think as a director, you succeeded.
Yeah, and I think you did. Um, let's see. So, can you speak a little bit about the casting process? And since there was a lot of diving scenes, did you
Yeah.
try to look for cast members who actually have diving experience?
No, we did. So the casting process is obviously Richard got on board, and then we got Scout on board as our
Yes.
lead. And then, so like my manager is also managed by like he also has a whole team of people. This is Matt Luber over at Luber Rockland. So
Mm.
he represented John Cena. He also represented Callum and a few other people. So we were able to kind of package together because I thought it would be cool to have this kind of ensemble. Stuart Townsend was kind of a late entry. I was like, this is cool. That's a
Yeah, that's a
great,
win for
it's
sure.
a win. I'm like obviously a
Hmm.
giant fan of his. Um, but I just thought it was a really cool way to pack a bunch of really great talent together, in this kind of movie. So that's kind of how that came about. And then your
And then
second
was it,
question.
does anyone know how to dive? Did that come up
Right,
afterward?
right. So no, nobody really knew how to dive. Like nobody really knew how to. So when we got to Thailand, we did a week training of scuba, like a week scuba training, right? So
Okay, okay, yeah.
that the main actors could, the main four could actually go underwater and do the basics. So what we
Mm.
didn't, they didn't end up doing the big shipwreck dive. Those were all stunt doubles. So
Oh, I had no
yeah,
idea.
yes, that's what I'm saying.
Movie
It was very,
magic right there. I had no
very
idea.
seamless. So we had stunt
And
doubles doing that because that was like a 60-meter dive. It's deep.
was it a real
A
sunken
real
ship?
shipwreck, a real sunken shipwreck off the coast of Thailand that we did, right? I mean, they
Wow.
went into
Yeah.
the deep, right? So,
Yeah,
so they
yeah.
did, they did. So that's a 60-meter dive that our talent went down into, and that's what I call the sequence. That's like, this is our National Geographic sequence. It's all nice, it's pretty, it's
Yes.
real
It's
fish,
beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful,
yeah,
sure.
real fish, real diving, a real shipwreck. And so what our Thai team did is they recreated the
Mm.
hull of that ship on stage in an underwater tank. So what we did is the close-ups and the kind of media. I mean, like it wasn't that close-ups, but I mean they did
Yeah.
a whole section in an underwater tank for a few days, like 4 days in Thailand, which we got all the close-ups of our talent doing it, and then we stitched it together with all the big mega wide shots, and we were able to do it.
Oh, it looks fantastic. I had no idea watching it. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so cool.
Totally. It's two totally separate movie magic sequences. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So one thing I didn't mention is that there are a lot of fight scenes, like physical
Yeah.
fighting, like you'd expect in an action film. Were
Right.
those done on actual boats? And if so, were there some challenges that you didn't anticipate with doing fight scenes on a boat?
No, no, those were done like everything was on that boat.
I thought so. Yeah,
It
yeah.
was all on the water and in the water. So these little tussles were all there. So it was really cool. Again,
Mm, mm.
we had a great little, like I said, these are cool little, and there's a little bit of gunplay too. So you had a little
And
sprinkle of
guns too.
everything,
Yep.
right? So it had a little bit of gunfights, a little bit of fights, hand-to-hand stuff. So that's why I felt like it's such a straightforward thriller, for
Yes.
that reason, you know. You don't
Yeah,
necessarily have those kind of elements in straight horror.
exactly. It's a perfect setup because there are killer sharks in the water, and then it's also dangerous on the boat. So
Right.
there's no safe space, and I think that
There's no,
create.
no, not at all. Yeah, we
Mhm,
always felt that like the danger up top is that's where the real danger was with the people, you know, because people
mhm.
are the most dangerous animal for sure. So
Yes, yes. Yeah, well, no spoilers.
yeah.
Let's see. So I have to ask, what was it like working with Scout? As we
Yeah.
mentioned, she is a
So
scream queen and horror royalty.
royalty and Scout was like I always say there's directors' dreams of lead talent, right? And I think it's
Mhm,
because not just because of her skill set as an actor, and not only is she beautiful skill set as an actor, but she was just like the best way to describe it was like when I have an actor that's just down, like she's a down, that's a
mhm,
down chick. You're meaning like, what do you want to do? You want to jump off boats? You want to go scuba dive? You want to do this? She was like she was up for everything, and that's the kind of actor that I know and like a lead that we knew had to carry this movie because it's really Cassidy's story. It's
mhm.
100% her
Absolutely.
story, her point of view. Even in Dreyfuss, it's her interaction with her grandfather, which is Dreyfuss, through all her
Mhm,
this, her flashbacks, and all that stuff. It's really her emotional journey that we're taking through. So it's like not only does she have to carry it emotionally, she has to do a lot of physical stuff. I mean, she was in that shark cage. She was getting knocked around a shark cage. She was getting, put down in the water from the shark cage, brought up. So she did a lot of physical things that we
yeah.
needed the main actor to do. And she was 100% like game. Never, she was not a diva on any level. She was just a utter professional, and she just gave it 100% all the time. And I think it
Mm.
shows. I mean, we really believe her journey on this, and she was physically in all those sequences.
Yeah, she crushed it.
Yeah.
Do you think any of the cast members fell in love with diving and now will
I
pursue
think
that as a
so.
hobby? Yeah.
I think so. I mean, I think there's a few that really enjoyed it. Like, one like there is one cast member, Maverick, that he was like the first person that gets taken out.
Yeah.
He's an ex-military, and he actually was the only actor that did go down that big 60-meter scuba scene. Yeah, he was one
Oh.
of the yeah, he was one of the only actors that actually did that stunt. But he's also a great stunt performer as well. So, but he dives. But everyone else, I think they thought it was fun.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, one question I like to ask is if you could describe this through other movies, like Alien meets Predator, how would you describe it for those who haven't seen it?
I always, when I pitched it, it was always Captain Phillips with sharks. It was just always that. It was like, you got modern day pirates and you got sharks
Yeah,
from the water.
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it
I
was
love it.
always, it was always that way. I mean, is there
Mhm,
some nods to Deep Blue Sea? Yes. Is there some nods to Into the Blue? Like those kind of like 90s, like very 90s flicks for sure. Like, there's definitely some of that Paul Walker, Jessica Alba vibe.
mhm.
And even there's that,
The deep. Yeah.
yeah, and I was about to go there. Is a
Oh,
very
okay.
there's some nods to deep too. So
Yes.
there's a little bit of that. So I think it was just kind of a mixed bag. But for me, like interestingly enough, like we always set out to make this kind of movie for sure.
Mhm.
Would I do it again the same way? Probably not. Probably not.
Oh,
Interesting, yes. As an
that's
artist, it's an interesting thing. After it's put out this same way, would I do it the same way? I would do a little bit of things differently. But that's the way it is as a director, man. You go, okay, yeah, yeah, I'll keep this, but
mhm.
do this, I'll tweak it. You're just always going, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah, of course. And but with a movie, like when it's done, it's done. You can't go back and
It's done. It's
make
hands
make
like
any
that's it. You gotta
changes.
you do. You just
Yeah.
you're hands off. Like it's delivered and it's not yours anymore.
Hmm.
That's the trippy thing about this medium. It's
Hmm.
like we're there, and it's like for me, I'm always a director that's always trying to be in like I grew up in the '80s, like so mainstream
Hmm. Me too.
filmmaking has always been my love. Always
Hmm.
like I've always been that kind of guy. Like so. I am always trying to keep the audience in mind all the time. So it's not this like
Yep.
self-indulgent, I'm going to do what I want to do and I don't care what they think. It's more just like, no, I really am trying to go, what's going to entertain, what's going to be fun, what are people going to
Yeah.
like along,
Hmm.
yeah, at the same time, doing it through my filter, right?
Yes, absolutely. Um, well, I think you did a fantastic job. Congratulations on your film. You've done a lot of action thrillers on other films that you've worked on. Now you've done killer sharks and pirates, I guess,
Yep.
to at a high
Yep.
level. Um,
Killer pirates.
and there's there's some horror elements in here too
There
with
is.
the sharks. So
Definitely.
my question is, and this is kind of fun, is there a horror subgenre that you would like to try that you haven't tried before?
Sci-fi
Maybe
horror.
like sci-fi horror. Say more. Like what?
Well,
Like Event
Aliens is,
Horizon or
yeah,
oh,
Event
okay.
Horizon is awesome, but Aliens is probably
That's
my
so
number
good, right?
one movie.
Okay, okay.
Aliens, like it's probably always been my number one all the time. And I'm like a
Hmm.
giant Star Wars nerd and stuff like that, obviously with my tattoos and shit. Um,
Yeah,
but it's
sure.
like, but it's like I love sci-fi and I love that like sci-fi horror, sci-fi suspense genre. So
Hmm.
that's cool. And like a true creature feature, I think like a true creature feature, I'd be down to doing, spoiler, like that is my next movie that I go off to make in the next month. I'm making
Oh
a
my
try.
God,
Yeah, we're making a real creature feature.
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, that's really exciting. You kind of stumped me
Super,
there for a second.
super fun.
Please keep me updated on that. I'd love to have
Yeah,
you on again and chat
yeah.
about it. A little bit
But
of a
that's the
plug
one that
there.
it's like the Into the Deep fans will be like, oh, okay. Now this is the one that's a creature feature for reals, with like all the gore slasher elements involved. So it'll be fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I can't wait. Um, I do want to get to the this or that segment that we talked about a
Yeah.
little bit before we started recording. But lastly, going back to what you said about Jaws harming so many actual sharks, there's
Yeah.
a very different message with this film. And
It
with the
is.
credits at the end, Richard Dreyfuss comes on and talks about that. Basically, how there are many shark species that are um, at the risk of going extinct. Can you say a little bit about that ending that you added in as part of the credits, which is completely separate from the film?
Totally separate from the film. This is something that we talked about as Richard
Hmm.
signed on. Like this is something he felt very, very passionate about, and I was all about co-signing. Like he was
Hmm.
really passionate about this. Like if we're gonna make a shark movie, we're gonna really have an eco message about it. And I felt that it didn't feel like a gimmick because that was the story of the movie, anyways. Like the story. I mean, it's not like we had an eco message at the of the movie, but my point
Right.
is, we didn't kill the sharks at the end of the movie. The sharks did what sharks do, and that was it, right? And
Hmm.
then also, like I said, the cathartic moment between Cassidy and the shark that she's after, they have this kind of, I always call it the coming to Jesus moment, or either that or like the Luke Skywalker moment. But it is this moment
Yeah, sure.
where
Hmm.
you're confronted with your fear, and you
Hmm.
either face it or you run. And reality is, like with all the research that we did on this movie, you do not run away from sharks ever. Like you always have to face the shark. And we saw
Right.
this. I've seen hundreds of videos because I knew this moment was so crucial to this movie. And every time, like we saw great whites, we saw tiger sharks, like when these sharks come towards you, they're not going to like you like literally have to eye to eye them, which is why she takes off the goggles, right? So she takes off her goggles so she can look them eye to eye. And then also
Hmm.
you push the nose up and you kind of you deflect their like through their nose and deflect them off with that. And it puts them into this kind of semi catatonic state that kind of like she kind of flips it over, right? And that's I've seen
Hmm.
hundreds of videos of this how they do it to sharks. And sharks have this thing. It's like with crocodiles. Crocodiles, if you kind of like lift up their chin, they kind of just get stiff. Same thing with
Yes.
sharks. Like sharks, you kind of like
Hmm.
put the nose up and turn them over. They just kind of like go into this state and then they just kind of mingle off. Like so
Yeah.
this moment was so huge again because of that. It's like, all right, we're not it's not there to be like it's not a man killer right off the bat, right? It's not there to
Right.
just like to kill you on purpose. It's just doing
Hmm.
what it does. And if it realizes that you're not a threat, then it's probably going to go, 9 times out of 10, it's going to just go off on its own. which is what it does,
Yeah,
and that
true.
was it, and that's what it did. And so
Yeah.
when and so that ending fit Dreyfuss's his mission of preservation and the shark message and saving
Yeah.
sharks. So yeah, the ending of this was just about him saying, like, sharks are still hunted by the millions. They're still
Hmm.
destroyed by the millions every year. And again, this is a lot of, he
Yeah.
definitely felt deeply about this because of, Jaws is one of the greatest movies ever made, and it's like, unfortunately
Hmm.
they had had an impact because it was so well made. If everybody feared
Yeah.
sharks and going in the water. I mean, that's just what it was. Um,
Yeah. Terrifying. Hmm.
but that was his thing. He wanted to say, like, save the sharks, man, save the sharks. So
Hmm. Hmm. And the moment that you're describing, I mean, a little bit of a spoiler, but not too much.
yeah,
That's one of the themes that's right from the beginning of the film. Like you're a visitor here in nature. You have to respect it. And I mean, if you're faced with a shark, don't splash about, don't make sudden movements, don't try to run away, like you said. Um, but one character does do that. I won't give anything away, and
right.
things don't end very well.
No,
Let's see.
listen
So
to the expert.
yes, there you go. Listen to the experts.
Right.
Okay, so Into the Deep is streaming on Amazon. I suspect it'll be coming to other streaming platforms
Yes.
soon, and
Yep.
perhaps by the time we post this, it will be available on other platforms. And I will put that in the description if that is the case.
Yep. Great.
Um, but like I said, let's jump into this or that. I tried
Okay.
to do like an underwater theme, so we'll see
Yeah.
if I was successful or not.
Okay.
Just pick one or the other. There's no right or wrong answer. There's no pass or fail or anything like that. So the first one is movies. So humanoids from the deep or piranha.
Humanoids
Yeah, I
from the
do. I
deep.
love humanoids too. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Let's
Carrier.
see. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so this isn't water related. John Wick or John McClane?
John McClane.
Of course. Is it a Christmas movie? It's a Christmas movie, right?
The best action movies of all time.
For sure. Let's see. Leviathan or Underwater?
Underwater.
Mhm. Okay. Rob Zombie or Eli Roth? I mixed in a few surprises
Hi,
here.
Eli Roth.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this is kind of funny. At least I thought so.
Yeah.
Sharknado or Avalanche Sharks?
Oh, just avalanche sharks because that's
Uh,
bananas. That's
that's
even
nuts,
more
right?
banana.
And Sharknado. Okay, do you like sequels or prequels?
Prequels.
I mean, I guess there's sort of
Prequels.
sequels too, but yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Um, Deep Blue Sea or Deep Star Six?
Deep Blue Sea.
Mhm. Monopoly or Clue? Speaking of growing up in the 80s.
Monopoly.
The Deep or Sphere?
Sphere.
Mhm.
Sphere is amazing. I talk about Sphere a
Deserved
lot.
more attention. Yeah, yeah.
Dude, I actually talk about Sphere a lot. Like, we're gonna go off on a quick side tangent for
Go
three
for
minutes.
it.
Oh my God. Sphere, I'm not kidding. I really do
Mhm.
believe Sphere is more apropos now than ever because I feel like Sphere is what the internet is now, not even joking.
Hmm.
Like, I think that
Interesting.
when the internet was created, we like we verged off and like created our own like, Sphere created your own reality, right? Like, we weren't
Yeah,
ready for
yeah.
that. We weren't
Right,
ready for
right.
that technology. I feel that's what the internet was, man. Like, I think that I
Hmm.
think I think there's a little bit of Sphere and the internet and negativity and whatever. I mean, it's like for as much great things that's happened, there's a bunch of shit that's happened too. So
Sure. Wow.
Sphere,
I need to go back and watch Sphere. It's been a while. I saw that in the
dude.
theater,
Me
actually.
too. I've seen it a few times. Sphere is like,
Yeah.
yeah, the sphere. The sphere helps you create your own reality, right? It's like it
Yes.
has
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
power to yeah, has the power to
Right.
manifest your own reality, whether it's good or bad. And usually people aren't healed
Absolutely.
enough or whatever, or they're not, but evolved enough in their own psychology. It's usually we're always usually acting out on our own fears that here, that's what I'm saying. So I felt like the internet did a lot of that too.
Is it Sharon Stone in that? Is that right?
Yep.
Sphere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna check it out. It's been a while.
So good.
Um,
Check it out. And you're gonna go, oh shit.
Yeah, yeah, no, especially from that perspective.
Yep.
Okay, two more.
Yeah.
The Meg or Under Paris.
Under Paris.
Yeah, I liked Under Paris. It was
I like
fun.
I
It
like
was
I
fun. I mean, the Meg's
it's
fun too, but
Meg's totally different, yeah. But I liked Under Paris. I thought it was a
mhm.
totally cool take, and I love the fact that it was like you're watching a foreign film, which is cool.
Yes, yeah, agreed. Okay, last one. I think I know what you're going to choose, but
Ooh,
Jaws or the original Halloween.
Jaws. Jaws.
We always end with that. My co-host, who couldn't make it today because he's in the UK and he's
Yeah.
asleep, um, Jaws is his favorite film, and Halloween is mine. So we always add that in
Yeah.
at the end. Yes, awesome.
Do you
Well,
like the
thank.
new ones?
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah, I get it.
Yes,
I get
I
it.
do. Yeah, yeah, I do.
I get it.
I think I liked 2018 the best, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. I like what they're doing. I like that they tried something new with ends. Um, Good trilogy. So we'll see. And I
Right.
guess we don't know if Michael Myers will be back or not. I assume he
Right.
will.
Right. Exactly.
Right? Yes. Did you like them?
I liked
About the
them. I thought
same
they were
same reaction. Yeah.
yeah, I thought it was a cool return. Like, I'm like, oh, okay,
Hmm.
we're back in this world, and I did like that it felt a little bit more 80s-ish. Like it felt more
Yeah.
it like they felt a little smaller in a good way.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Agreed.
It didn't
Agreed.
feel like 90s Final Destination style productions, like big production
Right.
style. Like it felt like
Hmm.
small and intimate and cool, and you're like in a neighborhood. I just felt a little bit more intimate, which I liked. But I know what you mean.
Yeah. Same here. Same here. Well, I'm a fan. I own multiple copies of each one. So
Yeah, I
so
love
there you
all your
go.
physical. I love your physical media back there, dude.
Ah, thank you. Yes.
You're doing it
Long,
you're doing it for the world right there.
yeah, yeah. Long live physical media, hopefully.
Yep.
Um, well, Christian, congratulations on Into the Deep. Thank you so much for chatting with me today.
Man.
Like I said, your film is streaming. If you're watching and you haven't seen it, check it out. And if you are watching, like and subscribe because it helps our channel. And again, Christian, thank you so much. Congrats on your new film. And
Thanks,
actually,
dude.
lastly, how can folks
Yeah,
find you on social media?
yeah, hit me up at Christian.Sesma on Instagram.
Yes, and that's how we found each other.
Yep. Thanks,
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks so much. And
dude.
yep. All right. See you. Bye, everyone.
Take care.